Ladies and gentlemen, gather around, gather around. This is Red Pill Tamales. I've been seeing comments. I've been seeing comments on the YouTube. I've been seeing mainly on the YouTube, I believe, but people saying like, "What the hell, man? I became conservative because of you, and y'all ain't even uploading no more." Well, have no fret, have no fear. Rob GTV is here. It's your boy Chingo Bling. This is Red Pill Tamales. We have Rob G, producer Rob. This is a each one of us is zooming in from home, brother. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, it feels good to be able to catch up and talk about the chaos and just catch up with you in general.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we look good, we sound good. So hopefully you guys are gonna not even realize that we're using technology. But this is great, bro. I love being a lazy bum from home.
Spoken like a true comedian.
I mean, not even. I mean, yes and no, yes and no. Um, yeah, that it's just like I get to, I saw my 4 year old off to school. My wife took her to school, and then she went to the boutique, and then I hung out with the baby for a few hours, and the babysitter shows up, and then I knocked out an episode with Informed with Anthony, knocking out an episode with yourself. And quick announcement at the top, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the newsletter. Check your email, open our emails, please. We promise not to spam you. So just hit up the website, join the newsletter. And very important, I asked Rob yesterday, they were recording Her Lounge podcast, Mighty Soul and Rob. And I was like, hey, Rob, we got all these different RSS feeds. It's like cafecito time. I was like, when my wife and I go live, I take that audio, I put it on that RSS feed, and then we do What Did He Say with Javi Luna and special guests. We just had ESG. That's a whole other RSS feed. And then we do Red Pill Tamales. And I was like, shouldn't we just have it all on one thing? He's like, yeah, that's what I was trying to have you do. But
Well, we always have different ideas at the time, right? You don't want to like burst anybody's bubble because it's good to try things out. If anybody knows that, you know that, right? So we were like, all right, individual shows. You like to brand things and have colors and design for certain things, and I think that's a great idea too. But when it's kind of like triply, like Brian Callen always tells Sam, like Sam, you have 15 shows. Like,
mm-hmm,
how about you condense it down to like two, maybe, or three at
mm-hmm.
most? And I think that's kind of where you're getting at, where you're like, all right, let's put everything on one feed so that also it's like two-part, right? Like if you like Cafecito Time and you like What Did He Said, and like every once in a while listen to RPT, and then maybe you do something else, you can all just go to one feed, and like Monday you get a show, Tuesday you get a show. So you're constantly getting like, it's kind of like a program TV or program radio. You'll always get something on this one feed.
I don't know why I wasn't persuaded. I don't know what I was thinking. Like it happens all the time. Like for example, that big square podcast table that we have at the studio.
Yes.
Um, I feel like it's so damn big that it forces our camera angles. You know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like because of YouTube shorts and reels and TikToks, like we gotta kind of have that tight shot, and that table just kind of like forces you to put a tripod way on the other side. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm gonna put it on offer up. And she's like, I had your podcast set up where it was chairs and end tables and your mic. And she's like, but you wanted that big old table for whatever reason. And I was like, that was before the advent of YouTube shorts. I was like, I
Right.
kind of like the idea, like you had said, sometimes people bring documents or their iPad or they have a product placement. Shout out to Tehuacan mineral water. So we had our reason at the time why we wanted the big old table. But anyway, everybody make sure you're following the What Did He Said RSS feed, because that's like the original RSS feed. That's the one that has like the most subscribers or
Yep.
whatever.
Hmm.
So I guess eventually, pretty soon, um, you might tune into like the Cafecito Time RSS feed or any of these other RSS feeds, and you might hear like an announcement saying like, hey, we're no longer uploading here. If you still want to catch weekly episodes, go to the What Did He Said RSS feed.
Yeah, the landscape of everything, man, it changes so often, right? Like we talk about it all the time. Even though Chingo and I haven't done an RPT probably by the time you hear this in 3 or so weeks,
Mm-hmm.
like we're still keeping up with everything. Like Juan, myself, like we always read stuff. You and him create content for shorts to try to get the word out about shows or just content out there for the fans. And then we read the next day like, oh, they're not paying as much for reels. They're not going to be paying at all, and they're putting more of attention on now adding photos back into the mix. Or YouTube just launched. They went all in on their podcast segment. Now there's a whole dashboard for the podcast, and you can add a this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, all right, slow it down. Like, how do I aggregate all of my stuff for the fans easily? And it's just constantly changing, like weekly,
Mhm,
literally.
mhm. Yeah, so, like, even with the Patreon, like, all the members of the Thea, thank y'all for y'all's patience, man. I don't feel like it's been, like, that major changes, except, like, they keep asking where you're at on the Discord.
You haven't been in there in a hot minute. I'm gonna make my return. We're also like we've had some stuff in our personal life going on that soon, actually in a week, I can mention, and I feel comfortable talking about, online or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 there people, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes, but yeah, I guess they miss you on the Discord, and they trying to read into it like, "Man,
Mm.
where's Rob at, man? What happened with Rob?"
He's
They
still
get real
alive.
yeah, they get real sensitive on there, man. They be like they quick to roast people, and then they wonder where people at, and I was like, "I don't know, y'all ask him. I don't know, don't ask me." I'm like, he's his own man. He's a grown adult."
I'm talking about business and trans on Her Lounge every week if you want to listen on Mondays and Fridays.
The trans show, Mondays and Fridays.
Or Wednesdays and
Um,
Fridays, sorry.
when is it?
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wednesdays and Fridays, Her Lounge podcast. But anyway, like I was saying, we got a variety of shows. We're always recording, we're always creating content, but I feel like we're just doing an uphill battle by it's almost like you pitching three baseballs at a person and you expecting them to swing at them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything's already saturated. People already like everybody and their mom got a podcast. There's like a gazillion Instagram pages, and depending on what the algorithm feeds you, you might not even know I'm still alive. You might not even know I exist.
Yeah,
Some
before we
people.
recorded,
Mhm.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, go ahead.
Well, you mentioned, sometimes you'll still get people that like, "Oh, you do comedy, right?"
Or
And
like,
I've
yeah,
I've told you this since I met you. It's been 5 years now. People would say it then, and now 5 years later, you're damn near going on a decade of doing it. People are like, "Oh shit, you do comedy? Like I thought I saw you on a Netflix poster or HBO, but oh, that's cool." And in your head, you got to be like, "Motherfucker, I nonstop am trying to tell people about a show, a comedy show, or a special or something like that. It's crazy. There's so much noise out there."
yeah, there's so much noise, and we're just trying to cut through it. And and RPT, like this political show, it's still like a juicy subject. It's still something that affects everybody's lives. Um, it's still something that I mean, I'm still waiting to see like all the haters that were shooting arrows at me. Like, I'm still waiting to see if they're gonna come out from up under their rock and just y'all ain't got to tell me you were right, Chingo, or I'm sorry, Chingo. You ain't got to say all that, but please let us know if you're starting to kind of realize that like they sold you a bill of good. You know what I mean? Like they sold you, they did a swapperoo, a
Yeah.
switcheroo, where like, is this what y'all thought y'all was gonna get? You know
Yeah,
what I
and it
mean?
was it ever about people saying like, "Oh, you were right, I was wrong"? It was never really about that, was it?
No, I mean, I mean, it'd be nice. Uh, no, it ain't really that. It's just I really would wish that people would realize, like, oh, in 2020, there was a psychological operation. Everybody's brain broke. Like, people lost it when my family and I posted a 4th of July photo. It was me, my three daughters, and my wife wearing red, white, and blue. But because it was 2020, the summer of love, George Floyd, Vanessa Guillen, uh, Trump, mean tweets, Jason, whatever, all this, it was election year, the media, it was the COVID count, the number, and people were just like, how dare you wear these colors of a racist country when the police are hunting down black people, and LeBron James said it, and therefore it's true, and it was fiery but mostly peaceful, and like people's brains broke that in the 2020.
How do you feel, this next I can't honestly, man, I think you and we tried to call, like, how long is this old, bag of bones gonna be in office? And
Oh
I
yeah.
I missed it. I was like, "Dude, I give him 12, 18 months," and here we are going into summer or spring of '23, and things are gonna get real, I guess we can get into it, the whole, scandals of Trump more this and Trump gonna get arrested, and, all this,
Hmm.
is he playing 3D, 4D chess? What's gonna go on? DeSantis is tanking in the polls, meanwhile, Trump's gaining a ton of ground. Okay, and then we're looking at 2024 in the not too, distant future. How do you think those people that you're talking about that were, throwing all those arrows at you, do
Hmm.
they just keep it to themselves and maybe don't vote, or they vote differently, or they maybe come out and say, I was kind of wrong. I ate everything that they fed me.
I think they're gonna keep voting the same, bro.
Oh,
I
damn.
truly believe that. Maybe not everybody, but like cognitive bias is a powerful thing. When people have been indoctrinated from the time they were little bitty kids, from society, the schools, the media, their family, their parents, especially minorities, bro. Like the Democrats own and control minorities. Obviously, there's a lot of Latinos that are with like a Lexit type movement. You got
Mhm.
Blexit. You got a lot of people that are peeping game. Not everybody has the wool pulled over their eyes. A lot of people understand economics. People understand like the way the media works, but for the most part, a lot of people are still very like orange man racist, abortion good, you know.
Do you
uh
remember the last time Trump made I think it might have been the last time he did an appearance on, like, late night. It was, I think it was Fallon in, like,
mhm.
2015, I guess, because I remember him saying, like, "Man, Mr. Trump, this might be the last time that, you and I are both civilians, we're hanging out. Can I do something to you, that, I couldn't do once you become president or whatever?" And he's like, I don't like where this is going."
Yeah.
He's like, "Can I mess up your hair?" And that's when he messes up his hair, and, like, Trump was a good sport about it. The crowd was
Mhm.
going wild, the music's playing in the background, Jimmy
Everyone was
Fallon,
happy. He was
everyone is
okay.
happy. And dude, like that, in 2 months, the world changed.
They put that little chip in people's head, like when they did the alien one, the
Straight
Ukraine one,
up.
the
Yep,
COVID one.
yep.
Did This is like a crazy pivot. Did you see that clip of Fauci and Mayor what's her name? Mayor Bowser?
The DC mayor?
I think that's her name. And they were going door to door. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. That guy gave him some straight game.
He was like, "Nah, man, it's all based on fear. Y'all's whole campaign, and I don't trust it, and this and that." Hit He hit them with a bunch of common sense. Like the thing don't even work. And she's like, actually, the only reason I'm even here, able to talk to you on your stoop, on your doorstep, is the fact that I am jabbed." And he's just like,
And if you don't take it, you're gonna perpetuate this virus throughout the country. And he's like, "Oh, you mean like the flu? It's worse than the flu."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, this year the flu didn't kill anybody, but in years prior, bro,
Dude.
when people worshiping that man.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. That's why I think, like, when you see stuff like that, some of the people that fell for it at the time, at least, I don't know, a percentage of them, a quarter of them gotta be like, "Holy shit, was I brainwashed," right? Like, a
Mhm.
large portion of them, like you said, probably still will just, keep toeing the line, but there's gotta be some variation that's gonna go off the beaten path, don't you think?
Yeah, it's got to be some, bro. I was recently on a podcast called a Go Hard podcast, and the host Noel, um, dude, I just went off. I was just like, this. It wasn't even a political podcast, bro, but somehow it came up because where Homeboy Studio is, there was a house, and they lit. This is up Montgomery County, so
Okay.
one of the houses had a flag right above the front door, like plastered on top in the front of the house, like on the nose of the house. And it just said F, like spelled out, F-U, all other letters,
Yep.
uh, Joe Brandon. And just bam in your face. And I was like, oh, I like it out here. This is nice. And and in the conversation on the podcast, it came up where I was just like, La Raza has to be some of the most gullible and hard-headed people. I was like, "How are you both?" I was like, and I started going off. I was like, "All them little so-called wannabe fans that bounced and
Yeah.
don't want to come back." I was like, "Y'all did me a favor." I was like, "I got rid of all my headaches." I was like, uh, the ghetto ones that don't know how to act, ain't never been to a comedy show. They the first ones to complain about the price of an item. I was like, I said, that's gonna be 80% of your headaches right there. And I talked so much mess that when that episode airs, man, I can't wait to see those comments. Somebody's gonna splice it, take it out of context. See, I told you he was a sellout. Chingo Bling denounces La Raza.
Again, for a third time. It's
Once
like he does it
again,
every year.
he always does it. He hates Mexicans. And I was just telling the host, I was like, bro, I feel like I freed myself of some of that burden of the burden that Latinos have a lot of times, where it's like you gotta think a certain way, you gotta move a certain way, like we gotta move in unison, like identity politics, like we all gotta be this, and how dare you stray from the herd? How dare you think for yourself? And you know,
When you stepped out of that box, like, what do you think you stepped out what do you feel like you stepped out into? Is it just, like, openness where anything's possible and you can kinda reinvent some of the things you used to say or think or do or how you approach things? Or what do you think you're gonna step into or have stepped into?
Well, I do want to say that I mean, for the longest, bro, like from the time I went to prep school in ninth grade, I was forced to be around a whole bunch of different people. And I feel bad for Mexican Americans who have been abused by this idea that you have to approach everything with ethnicity first. Like
Yeah.
you got to be super offended if Tyga wears a sombrero or whatever, drives a lowrider. Um, that burden, like I feel bad for Raza who are limiting themselves and they're abused by that idea that, like, for example, how do y'all go through y'all's day to day? Like let's say you're a parent at your kid's jujitsu class and you're sitting there on the bench with other parents. Like, do you automatically look at them like, oh my God, I'm the only Latino here? Or like, oh my God, I'm talking to a white man. Like, do y'all really are y'all programmed like this to go through life always putting that first and missing out on opportunities of like, man, I'm chopping it up with another parent, and we over here talking about he has a connect with a PR agency, and they might be able to help get the word out when I got a show coming up in El Paso, Sacramento, San Jose. Like they can do a newspaper thing, and what's their fee? What's up with the keywords on your website and the SEO, and how you if somebody type Chingo, if somebody types in things to do in Dallas, and we want your show to pop up, like. Are you gonna miss out on all those conversations because you're in your head about like, nah, they hated on me, I said, because I'm the only Mexican there. It's like, it's not the 1920s no more, bro. This ain't 1850. This ain't 1739 or whatever. It's not the 1930s. It's not the 1940s. Like, it's 2023. We got Bad Bunny. We got Daddy Yankee. We got Pitbull. We got Eva Longoria. We got all these people, Rap Barbosa. You got all these like comedians, actors, um, influence, like people trying to tan their skin, people trying to have Latin sounding names, and like we're popping. And I just feel like Mexicans, maybe not all, right? But I feel like a lot of raza have this like inferiority complex.
That's a great way of putting it, yeah. And honestly, it's driven by whatever you consider the culture is. And I've said this ad nauseum on the show is like, I hate the phrase, the culture. I do it for the culture. The culture don't give a about you, man. Like it
Mhm.
really doesn't. Like if you look at it outside of it and just kind of look at it circumstantially by your environment, just live that way. Like whatever the media or the radio or the mainstream is talking about the culture and your culture and culture appropriation, none of that shit serves you whatsoever. Anytime you look at like literally this morning, I was looking at a video. It was some funny, stupid prank video. I don't even like these prank videos, but this dude had like a leaf blower, and he was, in like, it looked like he had a vest on working for the city, and he was leaf blowing, but he would also like point it up, and he was blowing people's wigs off.
Mhm.
They were all black ladies, or he was blowing the wigs off, and
Mhm.
I went to the comments just to see what they would say. Every one of them was like, "How come he ain't doing this to no white people? How come he ain't doing this to Asian people?" Immediately, like the first dozen immediately, like race, like why you only do it to black people? And then I started reading the interactions there, and it's crazy what the culture has created when it comes to just people's interactions about anything online.
Bro, I was reading this Thomas Sowell book called I think it's called Economic Fallacies, or Economic Myths and Fallacies. I believe Juan Big Stoner recommended it. And my 14-year-old, we had my 14-year-old over the other day, and she had homework. I was like, hey, put the timer on, because I'm trying to school her. I was like, don't think, because some of these, Indian kids and Asian kids are top of the class. I was like, don't think they genetically somehow superior. I was like, what it is culturally their parents be on their ass, and their parents are strict, and them kids fear their parents and they respect their parents. I said, so I'm gonna show you some study habits when you in my house. I was like, go ahead and set the timer, get whatever you need. You need a cup of tea, get comfy. We reading. And I read the Thomas Sowell. I read a chapter, and bro, oh my God, do I recommend that book again? Shout out to Juan Big Stoner recommending that one. Um, I think
What's it called again?
I think it's called like Economic Myths and Fallacies. Some of that stuff, dog, will blow your socks off. Like where you're just like, oh wow. like this is a totally different way to look at this statistic, or this is a totally different way to look at something that has already been accepted in the ether, in the zeitgeist as just fact. Like it just is. Like if you ever see a clip where like a college student is trying to check Charlie Kirk on
Mhm.
campus, like, I have a question. Why is it that African American males predominantly, 76% these type of crimes get end up losing their case, da, 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 da. And then Charlie Kirk, he shouted out Thomas Sowell, and he was like, hey, the statistic you just read me, he's like, did it factor in their legal counsel, like how good their lawyers were? He's like, oh, I don't think so. He's like, yeah, it didn't. He said, you think if LeBron James got in trouble, he would have some shitty lawyers, and he was going to end up on Schitt's Creek, and they was going to have him in the gulag up under the jail. And he's like, no, yeah, probably not. He's like, yeah, there's a lot of factors. He's like, so don't forget, you know, to factor in like economically why somebody gets stuck with a public defender. And then he just says like economic disparities a lot of times has to do with people's personal choices, and was there a father in the home, like a lot of stuff like that, not just race, 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 race. Like the chapter that I was reading, um, it's so triggering because I was even telling Mighty Soul like what I had learned. Well, I was like, yo, did you know that XYZ? She's like, I don't care what the book says. No, no, no. And I was like, you
Interesting.
yeah, and it had to do with slavery and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. So she's
Right.
just like, no, 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 you can't tell me. I don't care what the book says. It's because them people were brought over here in bondage, and it was because yada yada yada. And I was like, I know, but you got to understand that like even Africans were enslaving Europeans, and Europeans were enslaving Europeans, and humans were enslaving each other for thousands of years before they could even read or write. And I was just trying to recite some of the Thomas Sowell arguments,
Yeah, and
but
I
I
think
mean.
economic facts and fallacies is what it
That
is.
that one.
Yeah, okay, it's in my cart now. I'll get the
Yeah,
audio
it's
version if they have an audio version.
yeah, it's gangster, man. It's gangster.
Speaking of you said something that reminded me. We're talking about Thomas Sowell, we're talking about facts and fallacies. Man, there was a point about that. There was like Vice will do those debates where it's like, conservative versus liberal, and they'll have like a panel on two sides on their
Mhm.
little stools and shit. So it was either Vice or it was somebody doing a segment like that. It might have been like young, like the channel. It's like Young Americans. It's the organization that puts on like a lot of the Charlie Kirk and Dinesh D'Souza and those kind of people that go to colleges.
Mhm.
And it was like the panel that I saw from the clip, because all the vertical you can only see like four people. It was like an Asian gentleman in a suit, an Asian lady with pink hair, and an Indian guy with like a green flannel. I don't know if you've seen it. It's kind of going
Mhm.
around viral. And they're talking about why, like, okay, so there's a perception that Asian Americans have, so much more success. They get into better schools, they have greater GPAs, blah, blah, blah. And he's explaining why, like in the most calm, realistic, rational way about the nuclear family, about study habits.
Who's explaining that? Who
Another
is?
Asian student, like another guy
Got it.
that's in the panel, and the Asian chick with the pink hair just looks back. She's like losing her mind, and the Indian kid he's like, and they're talking about like abortion. Don't have a kid. He said, don't have a kid, like for instance, out of wedlock in order to improve blah 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 statistically. And the Indian kid, like loses his mind, and the comments are like, wow, a kid in green shirt has the mental capacity of a kindergartner. Like these people were losing their minds at just like rational, common sense, kind of like, if you look at the numbers, like if you have a mom and a dad in the home and you don't have a kid before this and that, if you want to try to get the best chances, like this shows to boost that or improve that. And they just weren't having it. And a lot of times it's like, you can't beat that ignorance out of people. They have to see it for themselves.
I feel like culturally, the whole generation of like the participation award, like the sensitivity, the safe space, the trigger, like words or violence. Um, I feel like they took advantage of people's empathy. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like the pendulum swung so far to where it was all about like it wasn't just respect other people's feelings. It was like this whole generation. I think I'm so old that I like missed out on all that because we still had bullying, roasting,
Yeah.
cracking jokes. I mean, you get made fun of. I mean, uh, you know, people got big mouths, people picking on each other. Like we still had all that when I was coming up.
Oh, yeah.
But it seems like a lot of these adults now came up in an era where, for example, the ability to chip away at free speech is easier now by having this like soft, woke generation where everything's like all the hard edges are
Mhm.
nerf protected, and you don't the parents that want to bulldoze obstacles out of the kids' way, and everything's about it's okay to be inclusive and respectful and stuff like that, but they don't went so overboard that you got this whole generation of people that if you ask them like, what is a woman, or do you think there's a difference between men and women or whatever, and they're just like, I think you can just if you feel like a woman, you just are, and we should respect that, and many people, they're different, and you should just let them, and da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, what repercussions is this going to have in female sports, or woman of the year award, or like, why is it that all the dudes are kicking ass at being women?
The amount of people that like when you like they'll do the man on the street type videos and they'll ask women or girls, they're kind of like all college age, like, can trans people use the women's locker room? They're like, yeah, like of course, like
Mhm.
they're women, I'm a woman, like
Gotta be nice, let
yeah,
them. They
inclusive,
feel it,
right?
that's how they feel, bro.
So I was reading that I think it's A&M. They just recently removed, like within the last couple of weeks, their DEI requirements. Like basically, like no more diversity. What is it? Diversity,
Equity,
equity, and
inclusion.
inclusion when it comes to getting into the school. It's just basically going to be
Mm.
merit based. I was like, oh, imagine
Wow.
that! Imagine that! What a great idea! Who would have thought to just do
Wow.
that? Implement merit based entry or merit based anything.
Wow. What a
2023, opening some eyes.
what a concept.
What a concept!
So I'd advise all the parents, everybody listening right now, like, if you have teenagers, if you have little kids, like, kind of, if they're too little, it might be difficult, but if they're like 14 or something, like, really talk to them and ask them, like, try to peep game, especially if they're in public school.
Yeah,
But like, just let us know. Let us know in the comments if you're in the Discord. Uh, just let us know. Like, do you have these kind of conversations with your teenager, and do you try to see where they're at in terms of like, hey, how do you feel about this particular subject? And if they're all like, well, I believe that, I think, you should be nice, and you should like let them if they feel that way. And, because what the radical left is good at is playing with semantics and playing with words to where people don't really be knowing what equity is. It sounds good. Equity. Yeah. It sounds like equality. Yeah. And it's like, do you understand the difference between like equal opportunity, which is what America is or was, I guess, versus forced equal outcome of like
right.
taking away from you to give to this person, or chopping this person's legs off to make that one taller?
Yeah, no, for sure. Now we have these conversations. Even I think kids, they do have the capacity to like, if it's explained right, like to
Mhm.
understand things like, for instance, let me ask you this. Where do you think that right now kids can still get a good amount of discipline and character building? And I think you already know exactly where I'm going with this, right?
No.
Like it's extra like martial art, like coaching, like
Okay,
good
go ahead.
coaching, martial arts and sports. I feel like because there's a video I was watching this morning actually. It's from not too long ago or maybe recently ish, but Deion Sanders giving have you seen it where he's talking to the I think University of Colorado. I think he's the coach there or he has a big role there. And he's giving his players like this, like what it means to be a man kind of speech, right? And
Mhm.
he's like, when I was growing up, we still had fights, we had bullies, we had things. It's talking about like the tough skin and like people pretend like they want to be a man, but they don't want to be a man when it's time to be a man kind of thing. And it's not just men, just mean in general. Like there are things you're going to run into. Like our kids are 8. They're both starting softball and baseball here in the next week or two. They're also, they're gray belts now in jujitsu. Like
Oh, nice.
they get it. Like they're really they understand that you're not always going to win. You can't cry about everything. Like people are going to say things you don't like. Bullies are real. Like how to handle it, how to diffuse situations. And they're 8. And I look at other people who are 18 and beyond, and they're like, you have the mental capacity less than my 8-year-olds. Like I just
Mm.
there's some parenting that went wrong there. Maybe you didn't have
Mhm.
them. I understand that, but or the culture is really letting you down because you're really going down a slippery slope that you will not get back up from.
Man, parenting is so important, bro. Like, that's one of the major, like, hopes. That's one of the major topics of this experiment of a show, Red Pill
Yeah.
Tamales. Um, I just hope and pray that like more raza tunes in, more like just people in general, right? Don't
Yeah.
gotta always just be raza, but I feel like raza so damn hard-headed and gullible to where we need it the most, especially coming consider the source, especially coming from us.
Yeah.
Like, chime in. It's a conversation. Like, let's have dialogue. Like, if you disagree, You know what I mean? Let us know why. Um, but yeah, man, parenting is so important. Like my Penny, my 4 year old, she came home one day. She was like, "Yeah, this little boy, he I don't know what, I can't remember the details. It was like he pushed me or I had fell and then he kicked me here or something like crazy."
Yeah.
And me and Marisol are both like, "Oh, okay. So what did you do? Like, I'm over here paying for these jujitsu classes. What's up? You know what I mean? You need to apply some of that." Uh,
Did you go for the double leg or the single leg? Did you go high crotch and then drag him? What'd you do?
whoa, high crotch drag. I don't know that move.
You go come over
High.
with a single leg, high crotch on, and then you just kind of like take them with you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, man. What's up, bro? When you gonna get back into the jujits?
Definitely this either spring or summer for sure. Like in the next,
We already in spring, big dog. What you
I know
talking about?
it's like it's the first week of spring. Give me some time. I got to get my toes wet into like a whole new rhythm of stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
I
feel
love
you.
it, but I do love it. My wife, she's getting a little too ahead of me and getting a little too big for her britches. She's like, I'm a blue belt already. I'm gonna get a
Mhm.
stripe maybe soon. Like, okay, I'll still slap that ass, however I want.
Like
So
that ass.
don't get it twisted.
He's like, I still know how to apply pressure to that diaphragm.
100%.
But yeah, man, I have class tonight, so
How many are you catching a week right now? Classes.
it varies. It varies quite a bit, but like I think two is a pretty that's a good week right
That's good.
now.
But do
Oh,
consistent classes. That's great.
yeah, and the reason is because Tuesdays and Thursdays is when they do evenings at Urban Jungle, and although evenings aren't ideal, they're better than middle of the morning. Like I think their daytime classes on Mondays and Wednesdays are like 10:30 a.m. And I'd probably have to move some stuff around to have that luxury. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It
Yeah.
just kind of feels like, well, I'm going to work and the sitter's here and you're going to class, bro. Like, shouldn't you be making some content, letting people know you got, tour dates or something?
Like
So
a
yeah,
professional tour dates right there.
yeah, you just feel kind of guilty. Yes, sir. I'm coming to El Paso April 6th to the 8th. You just feel guilty going like taking up that chunk of time in the day.
But
But
it's not
guess
taking up a chunk of time though, right? Like for you, it sounds like since you started jujitsu, like taking it seriously, it enhances your mood, your mental capacity, your desire to like do other things with your day when you do go to class. It seems like so. It's kind of like it's a benefit to everybody around you that you go catch a class.
I need you to tell my wife that, really drill that into her brain.
Trust me, dude. I do. I really do. When you're not around, I swear I
Please
do.
tell her. Please tell her. And she's supportive. She's got my back. But it's weird. It feels like it's easier for me to catch a class when I'm on the road.
Oh, I could see that. There's almost no responsibility other than putting on a good show. Obviously, that's why you're
Mhm,
there. But other than that,
mhm.
people don't understand the distractions and the amount of plates that you spin on a weekly basis or just a day-to-day basis. So to
Mhm.
be out of town and then just like I got a show tonight, I can go work out, I can catch a nap if I need to, I can write,
Yeah, I don't know.
catch
I
another
don't nap.
class.
Yeah, I do not nap.
You never nap?
No. No, 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 no.
Fucking machine.
No, I really, it'll mess me up more, honestly. Even when it's like the only thing I would say is like nap-ish is like it's an early flight and you kind of dozed off on the plane, and even that kind of throws you off. Where now you're just like,
What
oh,
about the Odessa trip?
no, I didn't take no nap. What do you mean? Like, did I nap?
Did y'all drive, right? Y'all
Yeah,
drove?
yeah, yeah. We drove, and on the way back, on the drive back, I did nap while Juan drove. He was doing a drive shift. But you know what? Shout out to Rough House MMA in Odessa, Texas. Professor Des Hill, his wife Crystal Hill, like the entire staff. It was super cool, bro. And you just pick up game from like different, you know, like
Mhm.
Cal Allen, Gracie Baja, Professor Aaron out there, like all the different Joey, like the students, they're like, oh, hey, carnal, when you do this, the omoplata, you gotta do like this. Like you just picking up stuff, and hey man, this is a good way to apply more pressure. And then by the time I come back to Urban Jungle and they got us doing like a gauntlet, and I'm rolling with my boy Jose or something, he was like, hey man, good pressure right there. Like that was you were doing good pressure. I'm like, yeah, bro, I done picked up a couple things, big
Picked it
dog.
up on the road, you know?
Yeah, just I mean, I still suck. Like my guard pass ain't good, but I'm picking up little things here and there. Like, hey, bro, when you're trying to pass guard, the biggest obstacle. The biggest problem is their legs. So you have to don't even bother grabbing their collar. Don't be going for their sleeves. You're trying to get past them legs.
Are
So
you only
like
doing gi or also no gi when you're out of town?
when I went in Odessa, it was gi. In Cal Allen, it was gi. Right now, at Urban Jungle, they're still on gi until it gets hotter. Um, but like if I'm visiting a 10th planet, obviously
Yeah.
that's gonna be no gi. It just kind of depends.
Cool.
But I
That's
just
good to know.
can't, dude. I just can't wait to get like decent enough to where I'm like more consistently passing people's guards. Like anytime I pass someone's guard, it just feels like luck, or it feels like they let me. Like I'm
Mm.
a big fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, don't be letting. Come on, bro.
I couldn't help but laugh when you were trying to pass my guard,
Yeah,
not because of your guard passing
yeah.
skills, but you know the joke.
Hey man, I like your Canelo skits. Hey bro, I'm baby Glock right now.
How's
Can't
your knee,
wait.
by the way?
It's way better. It's way better, but I'm still scared to go to MMA class.
All right, fair enough.
So
You have to
and
take care of yourself.
that's another reason why I mainly do just Tuesdays and Thursdays and maybe like open mat. Um, although Marisol told me, she's like, hey, you might want to go to that Wednesday class because you leave Thursday out of town. So I'm like, Wednesday's MMA. And I just get scared, like, bro, they're gonna go for my knee, bro.
Just be like, take it. Hey man, I gotta, just you do tell them right out the like when you shake hands, like, hey man, this right knee, so let's take it easy on that side.
Um, only if it's like my buddy. Like I won't even say take it easy. I just mention it like it'll come up or whatever. Like for example, I was rolling with my boy Angel in class, and he was about to get me in a was that a heel lock? He was about to do something
The heel
to
hook.
my leg, yeah, heel hook, and
Yeah.
I was like trying to spin out of it, so I almost tore up my own knee.
Yeesh, yeah.
So I was like about to try to escape. I'm like, nah, don't. Okay, he's got you. You see what he's trying to do. Let's try to escape. And I didn't even know if that was the proper way to escape, but I was going for this little road thing, and I was like, he's like, oh my bad. Is that the knee? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh okay. Yeesh. Um. Oh, so back to housekeeping. Also we have the YouTube RPT studio. So like I'm just torn between like building this whole other YouTube or figuring it out if that content could go on my main YouTube where I'm actually monetized and I'm trying to just keep uploading but it's like, well, what kind of stuff you gonna talk about? It's so tricky.
Yeah, and maybe it's something with the diehards that are in there in the Patreon and the Discord can maybe help guide some of your ideas because sometimes you just even if you don't necessarily do what they suggest, at least just hearing it, kind of reaffirming what you think to do might help. Because, dude, I mean, so do you think Twitter's more free now, like free speech? It's a little more like since Elon kind of took over, kind of thing. You see that from what I've read, this new YouTube, I guess CEO, I forgot his name, that took over. He's just as bad, if not worse, when it comes to cracking down on what they choose as what do they call it, misconduct or miss whatever
Mm.
content. So I'm studying Rumble hard right now. I mean, we'd uploaded all of our stuff there too ever since we started RPT, and it's just been like the slowest of slow trickle. Like most people, it's a new platform. It's only like 2% of the YouTube's kind of audience, but with Crowder, like he's setting records. Like he started Mug Club Forever over there, and he signed deals with these other comedians and stuff, and I was reading today, he's already doing numbers of what some of Rogan's biggest streams were when he was on YouTube. And it's only his first like 2 days back on Rumble, like a whole nother platform.
I mean, he's got it going on, bro. That's like a outlier. And first
Yeah.
of all, I didn't even know Brian Callen was air quotes conservative.
Well, he said in yesterday's episode when he came back that Callen's being a little more outspoken about and him and Tripoli talk about it, and Callen does give sometimes some pretty good conservative-ish takes on things. So I don't know. I'm interested in seeing like if he's coming out and saying like, okay, I don't jive with what's going on on the left anymore at all. Like I don't know. I think that's super interesting. Who else was it? Jim Brewer, obviously, he went hard on the jabs early on. Nick DiPaolo's always been very conservative. And then they have other people. I forgot who else. They have other people they haven't named yet that are joining their team. Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they're killing it. And I just pray that more people realize what we're doing, what we're trying to create. Um, so that like the Patreon, it's like we've been stuck. We've been at a
Yeah.
plateau. And I mean, somos pocos pero locos. Like the handful of people that are on there, they're very passionate. They're very involved. Like the RPT, the members of the TIA, um, they don't let you slide if an episode is up late. Um,
It's been a rough March for them.
yeah, I mean, but hey, I mean, shit. Had to move some things around. And as you maybe when you're traveling up north to go do what you got to do in Central
Yeah.
Texas, maybe you could stop by and help me finish getting this room situated on the tech side. You know what I mean? I got this other wall over here for Marisol because I'm trying to get her to sit down and do like 5 minute check-ins, like a 5 minute video. Like it's that pink flowery wall. I got one
Mhm.
over here. And like for example, one of the things I'll tell her is like, look, you got all this product and merch and accessories and shades and jewelry. You got all this stuff you sell. I was like, let me sit you down, light you, get it set up, put the mic and everything, and just do a 5 minute check-in rant. Like, what's up? Yeah, this is some new stuff, and like a show and tell. I was like, even if nobody goes to the website, even if nobody goes to the boutique, even if nobody buys that pair of blinged out boots or that cowgirl hat or any of that, I was like, you still made the content. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
I'm trying to like, you know,
So
uh,
how do you feel about personal like the term personal brand gets thrown around a lot these days because it feels like everybody's trying to start some sort of a personal brand. But if you're a business person and you don't have any evidence of why you should be a personal brand, then people aren't going to listen to you. They're not going to take your advice. You have nothing to buy because you don't have an actual product. Or if you're not an entertainer. So when it comes to personal branding, like how do you think you're trying to approach it, and how should Soul and maybe other people approach it right now with like all the noise? Should you go, deep on something? Should you try to, spread yourself wide on all the platforms? Like, what are you thinking right now?
honestly have no idea. But I will say, like in the case of Marisol, she's a talker. She could chit chat. She's got that, she's got her personality, and a lot of women gravitate towards it. And I tell her, I was like, if you do these, like for example, we got back from the rodeo. We saw Chris Stapleton.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, that was awesome. We actually went like to the rodeo twice. We saw Bumby and Chris Stapleton. And I told her, I was like, hey, when we get home, we're still dressed up. I was like, we should sit in front of one of these backdrops and just do a 5 minute check-in of like rodeo review. Like, oh my God, it was such a great show, whatever, whatever. I was like, it's not even about the rodeo. I was like, it's just about giving you an excuse to be you. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to, I know, but I got this and I gotta go here. I was like, woman, help me help you because I'm over here stuck at 200 patrons. I was like, Mexicans don't like politics. They just like Jorge Ramos and Eva Longoria.
I thought you would say Jorge Ventura. And I do love him. He's doing
Nah,
good.
yeah, no, he's awesome. Yeah, we got to get him on here too.
Man, I was gonna ask you something about personal brand. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know I don't even know how to answer that. Like, how does someone cut through the noise? Dude, if anybody has the answer to that, please tell me. Because we're hitting people from all these different angles, and it's like we're trying to cut through the noise, but I think people are just kind of like, I don't know. Where's like, I know you from the Toy Story voiceover, or I know you from Ostrich Boots parody, or like some dude, it was a waiter in Odessa. He literally was like, "Hey, why por qué no ya no subes videos? Like, why you not uploading no more like you used to?" And I was like, "Bro, we're going crazy uploading shorts, podcasts, reels." I was like, "We're cranking out so much content more than ever." And he's just like, "No, no te creo." And where's the new music? And where's this? And why you ain't dropping none of these? And where's Cleto? Why you ain't got tamales on you? And this and that. And I was like, sir, trust me, we have several podcasts. If you follow me on Instagram, you're not going to tell me we don't upload. I was like, we go live on Facebook. We're always going live. We're always uploading. We're always knocking out voiceovers. We're always doing skits. I was like, I'm wearing a wig half the time in my life.
Tell me what did he say? What did he say?
He's just like, he was just kind of like almost like, I don't even believe you're him just because you're lying to me. Like, I know you. In his mind, he's like, I know you're not even doing anything anymore, and you're not giving us anything. And I'm like, I'm giving you more than ever.
Will you give me my goddamn sweet rolls and fucking let me eat my meal?
That food was great though, dog. I know
So
that's
when somebody says like, you're not, so I was listening to this business podcast and they were talking about like sometimes you think you're doing enough of the thing and then you just realize you're still not doing enough of the thing. So they were talking about how much they had invested in putting out content like shorts. Like right now everything is short form video. Your TikToks, your reels, shorts, the whole thing. And they had calculated that they had invested in the content creation, meaning like people and departments and the editing, the whole thing, something of north of like 200 grand for this particular month. So they had invested $200,000 and had gotten an output of, they calculated like a $20 CPM on YouTube. Like if they had been charged a CPM for advertising through actual, conventional ads and not organic content. So you make a piece of video and post it versus pay YouTube to show it to somebody. They did like a $20 CPM and they would have had to have spent $700,000 to get the eyeballs that this amount of like pumping out content at 100 grand or 200 grand got them. So they're like, sometimes you're doing the right thing, you're just not doing enough volume of it. So when you do 2 or 3 pieces of content, put out 5, put out 8. And that goes back to like Gary Vee and all these other, guru types that talk about it. But when you see somebody break down in numbers, you're like, damn, I guess 5 isn't enough. Do I got to do 10? Do I have the time or the money to have, 10 pieces produced every day? It's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like it's all about the shorts and this that strategy of like cranking out a whole bunch of shorts. And
Yeah.
it's like how do you so I mean anybody that follows me online, like y'all see we're doing like Mamado stuff, Canelo stuff, Theo Juve stuff, like voiceovers, characters, advice, podcasts, and I don't know. Maybe we need like an editor on the team, somebody that's like, bro, your only job,
Mhm.
all you got to do, like just sit here on this computer and take this 1 hour episode, and I need you to just make some clips.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a place to start, right? Like somebody that's dedicated, like imagine getting double the output. Like if whatever Juan puts up now, which is a lot. Like I see on
Mhm.
YouTube, there's a ton of fucking reels and shorts. Now imagine like what would double get? Does this give us 500,000? Will we get 1,000,000 views if we put out double the output? Like what would that do when it comes to like tickets or merch or whatever else? I don't know, man. I love studying the stuff, but it's crazy because it changes so often.
Mhm. Yeah, man, this has been like the puzzle we trying to figure out. And again, man, we couldn't do it without the members of the TIA, the Tamal Intelligence Agency. Super supportive, like just really like vested. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like they believe in me more than I believe in me because I just be like, bro, this shit ain't working, dog. Like month after month after month, year after year, episode after episode, and we're just stuck. And it's like, what the hell I got to do? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
do I have to be on a bigger podcast and to mention our podcast? And it's just like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, yeah,
What?
man. I mean, you gotta
Damn, I
like
never seen you without your glasses, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
You look even more Asian.
I'm not even Asian. My wife's Asian. How dare you? No,
I
I
know,
do.
but you the one that looks Asian when you take your
I
glasses
do.
off.
Yeah, it's because I'm so blind. My eyes immediately just turn really beady and small because I can't see a damn thing.
Hey, that's what you get
East Coast.
making fun of me being deaf. That's what you get.
That's true. That's true. Hey, do you have any favorite stories? Because we haven't caught up all month. Like, is there
Mhm.
anything going on that you've really been like, holy, I can't believe that's going on? Like Xi Jinping meeting with Putin. We have, all these different things going on culturally.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean,
Did you see the Deer Park bus driver? I wanted to ask you about that because that happened
no.
today. So, Deer Park not too far from us. I don't know,
Mhm.
whatever
It's
north-ish,
like
east,
southeast. It's like
southeast
east,
side.
yeah.
So this bus driver picking up kids on their morning route like they typically do, grade schoolers, shows up to work in a dress and telling all the little grade schoolers to get on the bus to call him or her. And so Deer Park ISD has gotten a lot of complaints, as you can imagine. So I'm looking forward to this. As of the recording of this, it's just kind of like the story broke this morning.
So the parents are kind of like tripping.
Oh yeah, they tripping. I'm not familiar with Deer Park really. I don't know what kind of area it is.
It's like I think there's like a lot of refineries.
Oh, that's right.
You got a lot of like subdivisions.
Okay.
It's like near Pasadena. It's Pasadena adjacent. It's I think it's out that way going towards Baytown and stuff. So I think you have like a lot of like just I don't know if you would call that blue collar, but like electricians, plumbers,
Yeah.
small businesses, oil field people. I mean, like refinery workers, just like hardworking people trying to mind their business, trying to navigate all the taxes and the inflation and the culture war.
Yeah, not see Chris Farley in a dress when their kids get on the school bus?
Exactly. I mentioned Cat Williams. He has a special World War III. Have you seen that one?
No, Soul told me it was great also recently. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, so one of the things he says is basically like, it's not about I can't remember what he said, like it's not about left versus right. I can't remember what he said, but it was basically him saying it's about the truth versus the lie. The lie versus the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he's letting them know about spiritual warfare. Like he's framing it in a way where it's like if you just kind of peep game as to the absurd lies. And in Form with Anthony, we had a convo where he was basically saying like all the people that are just like lefty by default, like how I was, vote blue no matter who. Uh, he's like a lot of times, man, if you just told some of these like almost like my babysitter, like just la raza, if you just told them like, hey, do you know that they want to abort babies like after 9 months or like up to 9 months, and they want to have a Planned Parenthood in the high schools, and they think that you could just switch your gender, and they believe this and that, and it's like, what you mean? Like, but they're the nice ones, they're the good guys, they're the ones that are like cutting us checks and giving us more kickbacks and freebies, and they're aren't they going to do something for the dreamers, and they're the non-racist ones, right? And it's like, no, they're the ones that are like radical as hell. Like, bro, can you imagine like that's really like what we were intending to do with this show.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people just don't like long form or they don't like this kind of subject. But like this part right here, I'm about to tell y'all, like a big part of this show was to try to reach people who normally wouldn't pay attention and kind of like break stuff down where it's like, I know HISD told you these were the good guys and this is what they were about. I know LeBron James and Eva Longoria and Hollywood and all the movies, all the talk shows, all the comedians, I know they're all on this side. But if you pay attention, they're the ones saying like, Rachel Levine, she's a woman and you could just switch and you could be fluid and there's 98 genders. And I was like, I really wonder, like, minorities, have y'all not noticed that? Like, I mean, we have 4 years of peace. We had 4 years of peace and a strong economy. Sure, we had some mean tweets, but like, I feel like, did y'all forget? Are y'all not gonna acknowledge that? Are y'all not gonna recognize that? Nah, man, everything happening because of him. He the one caused all this.
Dude, I could go for some mean tweets right now. I really could.
Oh man, let's see what happens. You still Team DeSantis?
I was never Team DeSantis. Let's
Come
not
on,
get it
dog.
twisted.
Come
Whoa,
on,
you're trying
dog.
to put me on a spot here. I know I got a spotlight on me, but don't do that to me. All right. I
Come
said
on, dog. I know you
if
team.
if Trump went down more of this like back the jab and also like not pay attention to the J6ers and kind of like more promoting of big pharma, I'm like, he's not seeming all that great. But I at the same time said DeSantis, I could see why people would say he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I was looking at the polls earlier, how after what did he say about Stormy Daniels? He's like, I don't know about
Yeah.
what did he say? Did you hear him?
Hush money to porn star,
That's what it
but
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
I'm like,
like threw him under the bus.
he did, but then he was like, although this, district attorney, this Soros backed, whatever. I don't know. Long story short, I need the arc redemption for Trump. I'm gonna stick by that until there's no more chance of it happening. But that's what I want to see. What about you?
Oh man, I never had my pom poms out for Governor Beast Mode. I mean, I think he's probably like the best governor. I
Yeah.
mean, I think he's done a great job for Florida. Um, I think he has a lot of great qualities. However, you starting to see how he is as a politician, meaning what the consultants are telling him to do,
Mhm.
how many days he's taking to call out the principality of, hey man, y'all can't, this little DA guy, Manhattan, y'all got all this crime. All of a sudden, you want to go after this man this dude who's like running for president and in the lead. You're weaponizing the Department of Justice to take out your political opponents. You
Yeah.
know,
So what did you when you first heard about this, Trump getting arrested thing, what did you think immediately? Stunned or what?
dude, I done read so many books. I mean, I ain't finished them, but like about gulags and like how these regimes work. It's like I'm almost not even surprised, bro. Like I just, I mean, I saw footage today of Chinese nationals that are getting checked into the Brownsville like immigrant shelter because there's so many of them. They're like overflowing, and like people ain't paying attention. Like I always say, we're already in World War III, and
Yeah.
some people might be like, nah, we ain't we're getting close to it. It's like no, we are under attack in so many ways from within and from the outside. Um, I mean, like they literally trying to turn America into a third world country right before our eyes. Say goodbye to the petrodollar. They keep printing more, they keep giving more away. At this point, it's looking like it's on purpose and by design.
It
And the
does
front
look like it.
and the frustrating part, man, that comes with this show and this experiment is you feel like you're just falling on deaf ears. Like, okay, nobody, like we're not, is nobody changing their mind? Like, is nobody at least willing to entertain that idea? Like, y'all, like how bad does stuff gotta get? Like, how high does inflation? It's like all the people that are just still brainwashed by the media and just lefties by default. It's
Mhm.
like, how expensive do eggs gotta get? How many more of these chemical explosions gotta happen? Like, how many more of these, like, all of a sudden Xi Jinping, he the one calling for peace. He's over there with Putin saying, "Hey man, y'all need to de-escalate." And over here, we're the warmongers. We got our elites are selling us out, and they keep fanning the flames of war because they trying to get that Raytheon money or whatever. And it's like, how bad does stuff got to get for raza or minorities or just lefties or just people in general to be like, "Hey, this ain't what I signed up for. I didn't think we were gonna get all this
No, I
by
know.
by voting in this corpse."
What do you think dude, when I see the videos of the side by sides, all the conspiracies are like, "Hey, look at this guy's ear." Talking about Joe Brandon. Like, "What's the guy's ear? Like, why does his face look so differently?" And then you see that
Yeah.
video, like, compilations like, "They've had to open up my skull a few times to see if there was a brain in there." Like, what? Who's playing this trick on Are we getting punked? Are the aliens punking us from above?
And not even, bro. It's just the psyop was so powerful. Like 2020, they were hitting people with the anxiety machine. It was just the media, the headlines. Like Willie D literally said, "Man, I just got tired of always hearing about Trump every day, and Trump did this and Trump that, and he telling people to drink bleach and this and that, and all the racism and the Proud Boys and the this and the that, and I just vote for the other guy." Like
That's
they lit,
unfortunate. That's what they want. That's what the elites want. They want you to give up. "I'm tired, fog of war, whatever, whatever. I'm done."
yeah, demoralize you.
And that's why, like, a show like this, to kind of go back to the point you were making, is like, "But I said I don't want to hear about this, and nobody wants to hear about it." It's not. I don't think that's the case. It's almost like the fans that do like it have to make it so worth the effort of having the conversations, whether it's you by yourself, having guests on, making the time to do this show, edit it, put it out, distribute it,
Make shorts.
make shorts of that so that it reaches a larger audience. So there has to be an incentive, because as capitalists here, as American capitalists, you need to make some money in order to make the show run, right? You need to make some money to make the ship, stay afloat. So when you do that, it allows for people to, whether it's because we're going on, this December would be 3 years if Chingo decides to keep the show going until Christmas of 2023. And it could be 5, it could be 10 years, but because some people don't like Crowder, for instance. Like, if he is the voice, if he's the pinnacle of conservative, right-leaning media, and not a lot of people like him, maybe because he doesn't look like them, or they just don't vibe with how he says jokes or whatever. They need
Talks really
somebody.
fast.
Talks really fast. Yeah, I might take after him a little bit, but they need somebody that looks like you. They need somebody that, like, looks like them, maybe. Like, shit, I don't know. Somebody's got to be able to resonate with them. And if there's nobody there, then they will just kind of go into the void, and the left will continue to win.
Yes, and ditto and amen to that. You hit the nail on the head. It's like if exactly, bro, everything you just said, it's like all the stresses that come with making this show, the fact that it ain't really profitable. I
Yeah.
know the left is cheering onto that. They're like, yes, we're almost there. We're gonna shut them up. And it's like, it's like you just finished saying, like, how do you keep it going? Like, how do you, do you tell a friend? Do you share a clip? Do you like, what needs to happen so that there's a little bit of a breakthrough, and it's not just like this frustrating thing where it's like, you know what, I can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, I'm really, really curious, like, hey, like, imagine on my Instagram, like, hey, if you unfollow me in the past and you're back, like, welcome back type of thing. Almost like I want the feedback of like, yeah, I unfollowed you because your page got weird when you were running it or something. Like, like, I wonder if they look at my Instagram and stuff now, and if they wonder, like, so is this guy just not into politics anymore? Or they're like, is he no longer a Trumper? It's like, you're able to be funny, act a fool, put on wigs, and call out the BS of like, bro, they want to abort the babies after they're born. Bro, they think there's 97 genders. Bro, da 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 da. Um, I wonder if people are able to like reconcile all of that. Like, wait, so he is able to be a comedian? He could still rap. You know what I'm saying? Because one good thing about kind of streamlining the way we produce content is, bro, I've been able to knock out like a whole bunch of like verses and like
Nice.
beats, just different artists, collaborating with like artists from San Diego, Fresno, San Jose, um, just kind of getting back on it and just getting set up, you know what I'm saying? Just getting set up to where you're able to come in this room, crank out a couple beats, lay down some ideas, write some lyrics, lay down some vocals, export, email, get it mixed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forward it to the artist. Now you're getting the artwork made. I don't even know why I went on that tangent, but
Well, because efficiency matters, right? Like if it does become profitable, like the profit will be determined by how much effort goes into the show. So if it means you got to drive, you got to go places, you got to set up, time, set. If everything's happening from your hub home, what do you call it, studio to the blings there at your house or wherever, where it's not far, or was it back in your garage where you could just walk in the back or whatever, you could justify doing more of it, put more time into it because, there's more money left over to go into the projects. You got to pay these people to do music with you, or you got to go, rent studio time or whatever. I'm just going to keep going back to, if those that like it so much that they want to, support it monetarily, that's great. If not, find the other value for value model that works for you. Share every clip, write a review every week that, iTunes lets you write a review, send it to somebody in an email, copy and paste this URL wherever you want to post it. Find the value that you think is valuable to you or that's equal, and then do that at the very minimum.
they're like, bro, you're asking for a whole lot from us.
Hey, it's give a little, get a little. That's what it is.
Yeah, I felt like saying that to those comments I read, like, "Oh, come on, bro, y'all ain't been uploading for weeks." And it's like, no, I mean, we still got the Wednesday public, and we give y'all the what did you say early, and you still got the Discord, and you know, so yeah, bro, we'll finish this conversation later, like in terms of are we gonna rename the Patreon so it's just kind of like a larger, wider, not whiter, wider
Wider net.
community of
Yes.
like, imagine just bringing over all like the her lounge people, or we could keep it separate, but like just growing it to where it's like, oh, I'm here because of the skits, or I saw, I'm here because I heard there's going to be some bonus music on here, or like I'm here because I heard the music videos are going to drop here first, like a for real deal fan base, not just, you know this is strictly for my political show, and if you don't like this, you're not allowed, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
It's like,
segregated.
when you think of Rogan or anybody else, like they do cover these topics, right, on the show, like whether it's a current event segment on like a Fighter and the Kid show, or it's Rogan talking to the guests and they go through all these different topics. It would be nice if you didn't have to segment the shows, just because some people are so triggered that they can't hear half an hour of a comedian talk to a musician and then for the next 20 or so minutes talk about current events, Putin, politics and stuff. Like, it's as if life doesn't contain all these things anyway. Like, why must you have to have it separate because you get so triggered when you hear Chingo talk about Putin or whatever?
He's a Putin sympathizer. Well, hey,
Putin. Putin.
el Vladimir Putin. Well, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Rob, for zooming in,
Yeah.
and we might turn this into part one, part two. I don't know. Um, but hey, man, let us know. Give us the feedback. Let us know what y'all think, man. If y'all just like, nah, I don't buy it. I don't believe. I don't jive with anything y'all said. Hey, let us know. But I don't know, bro. I'm trying to keep the hope alive. Hopefully, like
You're like a glass half empty kind of guy, right? Like a lot of the
when
time.
it comes to this show, yes. When
I
it comes to
know,
this,
I know. Like,
yeah,
you
only
know what?
because like we're
Go
real
ahead.
quick. We're only real quick because I know what it'll take to actually make us break past 200 patrons, and I also know how much work that's gonna be in terms of like how many shorts, how many clips. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um,
It's not even how many, it's how much time. Because it's again, it's not like nothing, and you know this, nothing happens overnight. It's just like, what is it gonna be? Is it really gonna be another 3 years, right? Till it pop but in 3 years, is it so worth it that you're like, "Oh, man, these past 6 years were, like, so worth the time?" I don't know. We'll never know. One may never know.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, I try to be optimistic, but at the same time, I just look at the evidence of like, yeah, bro, like obviously, on Facebook and YouTube, I get the sense that like they rather see me wearing a wig, jumping up and down, acting a fool, unless we test it, where it's
No, no,
like,
you're probably right. If that's
mhm,
the case study, yeah, then at face value, they'd much rather see you in a wig making them laugh. They
or
they
even,
would.
or even on YouTube Shorts, like, can any of these clips from any of these episodes, like, I mean, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but like, can any of them hit big, or are we just like, bro, you're fighting against the algorithm, bro? Like, they're not gonna let any of these get seen, or they're not gonna let that channel grow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. I have no remedy for that right now.
Yeah, we're gonna pray on it. But hey, thanks again, brother. And maybe I'll send you this clip. If I don't know if you think we should chop it up into two or
Yeah, if you
something.
want to. Yeah, I don't know how you're distributing them, but I'll do whatever you need.
All right, for sure. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Give us the feedback, and we'll see you on the Discord. And I'll see you in a city near you. Hit up the website for tickets. Das.